Good morning, YouTube family. Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you might be. Welcome to Happy Crappy Hour on Escape from Crazytown. So good to have you guys on today. We're going to talk about what love means to a narcissist. And this occurred to me because recently I was watching an exchange between a parent and an adult child. And the parent just made me think, what the heck kind of excuse is this? And that's why I wanted to get into this today because I'm not saying that this parent was a narcissist, but boy, some of the things that she said made me think about, and the way she was behaving made me think about how narcissists would behave in a situation where they're trying to convince somebody that they love them and that they're doing things for that person's own well-being or in their interest, right, their best interest. So that's why I want to talk about this today, because a lot of times the way the narcissist appeals to us or please, uh, they're pleased for us to believe them and that they love us is so convincing. They're so convincing that we fall for it and we think, wow, they must really love us if they're fighting so hard to convince us that they're doing this for our best interest, right? So I wanted to approach that today because I think a lot of us tend to be really hard on ourselves, and we don't forgive ourselves for falling in love, for trusting, for believing a narcissist, right? And we come out of that and we think, how can I trust again? I can't even trust my own instincts. And not only that, we feel foolish, right? Especially if they discarded us and have abandoned us or have turned completely against us and become a nightmare in our life. So we kind of wonder, how did we fall for this? And that's why we're on this topic today, you guys. So, hey, welcome. I'm glad to see you guys coming on. And I want to tell you that, oh, you know what? I didn't think about what my happies and crappies are this week. Oh, let me see. What are some of my happies this week? Okay. A happy is my car was giving me trouble, and it turns out it was kind of a simple fix. Had to get an alignment and tires. So, yay. At first, I was like, no, not again. But my crappy, let me see, probably is more about physical. I don't know what's going on with me, but I'm starting to feel like I'm falling apart. I don't know if some of you guys can relate to this, but man, I don't know. I threw out my neck or back or something. Not threw it out, but I strained it, and it's taking me so long to recover. I'm like, what is going on? But anyway, those are my happies and crappies this week. Hope you guys are having a lot of happies. I hope that you're learning from your crappies. And let's get on to our subject. Hey, Obi-Wan, good to see you here. So, I'm talking about how a narcissist loves and what it means to them, and, why we fall for it, why we think they actually love us. One of the things I had heard or read actually a long time ago, which I thought was really awesome, it was an article about this guy who was getting cold feet on his wedding day. He was talking to his dad, and he was telling him, I don't know if this is the girl for me. I don't know that she's going to make me happy. I don't know you know, if she's going to be able to fulfill my dreams and be the woman I want to have for the rest of my life. So he's going on and on about that to his dad with all his concerns and his doubts, right, about the woman he's about to marry. And his dad says to him, "What are what are you bringing to her life? Is she the woman that you love and you want to take care of? Is she the woman that you want to keep safe? Is she the woman that you want to be faithful to for the rest of your life?" And that just changed his view completely. And he's like, oh my gosh, yes, 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 this is the woman that I want to love for the rest of my life. This is the woman that I want to take care of or protect or be with for the rest of my life. And this is the woman I want to be faithful to for the rest of my life. So you see, a lot of times we don't ask the right questions when we go into a relationship, or we go into a relationship expecting the other person to bring something into our life, which is normal, natural, human, right? Totally human to do. But as we mature, a true love is a love where, people talk about sacrificial love a lot. And it is. Love is really hard. Marriage is really hard. It's not all about you, and it's not all about your partner, right? When you go into a relationship thinking, what are they going to do for me? What are they bringing into my life? And what can they do for me? So when your attitude is that, and you start to forget that this person is their own entity, this person has their own feelings and dreams and wants and desires, and you're only thinking of how they're going to fulfill your desires. That's how a narcissist loves, and that's where a narcissist remains stuck. The rest of us can mature and grow and realize, wow, I love this person so much, not just because of what they can do for me, but because of who they are. I know that they're kind. I know that they're capable. I know that they're, all the things that you might find appealing and lovely and wonderful and you want to have in a partner, you see in this person. So, if you need adventure and excitement, you're like, wow, they're so adventurous. They have such a free spirit. I love this free spirit of theirs. And I just want to be, a part of that, their life. I want, to never be away from them because, I want to add to their life. I want to add to their adventure. So when you see what you can bring to the table for them, and actually make it even better, right? Embellish their life, make their life even better, and in the at the same time, it makes your life better. That's what you should think about when you're in love with somebody, right? Also, of course, you want to look at the bad side and see, like, wow, can I handle this, and what's going on there, and do I think I can help them with this, and would I be willing to stick through all of this with them as they heal? There's all kinds of stuff. But, the main thing is that the narcissist remains in a very self-centered perspective when it comes to love. But they will convince us that they love us and that they are doing things to us for our own good. Yeah. And I'll get into some of those stories as well. I have one from a mother child example. So let me look at who is coming on and say hello to each of you. Crystal, good to see you. Yeah, Obi says, I got my entire suspension fixed from my NARC friend that's a mechanic. These channels taught me what to look for. Wow, okay, that's cool. Metal Gear, hey, good to see you. It's been a while. Good morning, Escape, and to all. Oh, okay. I'm trying to follow what you're saying there, Obi-Wan. That's cool. That's a good idea. I mean, be upfront with your mechanic, whether they're a narcissist or not. Anyway, yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad that worked out for you, buddy. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, this is the thing. There's an example from my own life, by the way, with my mom. I remember growing up, and as abusive as she was, she would tell me that she's doing this for my own good because she's trying to teach me or prepare me for the real world, right? And I bought it. I bought into that lie. I thought, she really loves me. I kept trying to convince myself she does love me, because what parent doesn't love their own child, right? What parent would abuse their child so badly and tell them they hate them, and tell them they're nothing but crap, and everybody else is better than them, and just a constant barrage of negativity and crushing their ego. What parent would do that? And when she would tell me, I'm doing this for your own good and trying to toughen you up and prepare you for the world, I bought it. I believed it. I thought, wow, okay, so at least when I go into the real world and this happens to me, I won't be surprised, right? I'll be stronger. But what actually happened was when I went into the real world, I was demolished. I had no self-esteem. People were, I had no confidence in myself. I couldn't stand up for myself. People were able to steamroll over me or persuade me, right? Easily because I had no confidence in myself. So that kind of abuse does not prepare a child for the real world. That's just a narcissist excuse for abusing the people in their life. And it doesn't just happen with a child, it will happen with romantic partners as well. I'm just trying to prepare you for the real world. And that's why I tell you what's wrong with you all the time. That's why I have to criticize everything that you do, because the real world isn't going to just welcome you with open arms. And I'm trying to toughen you up for the workplace, whatever your stupid, I'm sorry, but yeah, stupid narcissistic friend or narcissistic partner is telling you to uh to excuse their abuse towards you, it's or to explain their abuse towards you. uh, don't buy it. Don't buy that crap. It's abuse. If they're yelling at you and telling you you're nothing but scum, or they're putting you down constantly, or they're taking advantage of you or robbing you, stealing from you, just trying to prepare you for the real world because, people out there are going to take advantage of you. So that's why I'm taking advantage of you. It's like, what the heck kind of excuse is that? I mean, this is the crap that narcissists will say, right? And if we're in a place where we don't have the confidence that we need, we're going to buy it. We're going to believe it. We're going to think, wow, this person, why? Because it doesn't make sense. That's why. And that's another reason why we buy it, because it's total crazy town. And we think, well, who would do this to somebody and then 2 seconds later tell them how much they love them and think they're wonderful, right? Who would do this and then an hour later you're in bed together, right? Who would do this and then you know well, as far as a parent goes, I don't know, I never experienced the warm fuzzy part side of my narcissistic parent. But who would do that and then turn around and buy their kid all kinds of things, right? It's probably out of, they feel like they need to control you, need to convince you that they still love you or whatever it is. That's why they're nice to you later on after they've just wiped you out. It's horrible. But we're trying to make sense of how a person can flip a switch on and off like that. And so we believe their lie that they actually love us. Who would do this? Why would they be? So this must be their way of training me or preparing me for this real world, which is harsh and must be so much more harsh than what I'm getting now from my parent or my girlfriend or my boyfriend or my husband or wife. And you're thinking, must be so much worse out there than what my friend is doing to me as they continually stab me in the back, and then tell me they're preparing me for the real world. It's like, no, you're not. You're showing me that you're a two-faced jerk and I should never trust you, nor should I let you stay in my life. So as we learn what a narcissist thinks about love and what love is to them, we will be better prepared to see their lies and their manipulation. So you guys, I'm going to talk about a couple of points where what it looks like from a narcissist point of view. But I want to hear from you guys. Yeah, Obi says, I was never good enough for my parents and got so abused in the real world, I just quit caring. Yeah, and that's the thing. Narcissists do not prepare you for the real world. Narcissists damage you so that you cannot function in the real world. Because you know what? Guess when you build up your self-esteem and you are centered and you know what your strengths are and your weaknesses are, you know what your likes and are and what your dislikes are, and you go into the real world and someone tries to convince you to take their crap, you're going to say no. You're going to be like, no, I don't need to stand here and take that. Or if they try to cheat you, you're going to be able to stand up to them and say, no, I don't accept that. And I refuse to sign this, or I refuse to accept whatever it is they're trying to give to you, right? Oh my gosh. I have a friend who, the real world, yes, the real world will take advantage of you. I have a friend whose son was in New Orleans recently. So he's walking down the street with his best friend and his girlfriend. And it was at night, and it was, people are drinking and partying down the streets, and people are trying to get customers into their bars and restaurants, right? Well, there was this woman who comes up to them and starts saying, hey, have a shot of this, have a shot of this. And she's trying to get them to drink some, I don't know what it was, a shot of something, right? Some kind of liquor. So at first, he and his girlfriend, he's telling the woman, no, 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 we don't want any, no thanks, no thanks. He's trying to be nice about it. And, but she just was so pressuring, so insistent, just started grabbing them, saying, come on inside, and have some drinks with us. And, finally she convinced them to have a shot. So they each took a shot of whatever she was giving them. And then she says, okay, that's $20. Everybody owes me $20 for taking this shot. Okay, this is the real world. I'm not saying this is narcissism. This is the real world trying to take advantage of people. So if he were raised by a narcissist, he probably would have just shelled out the $20. Okay, here you go, which is what his friend did. And I'm not saying only narcissists raise up people with no self-esteem. Abusive people, toxic people, self-centered people, very immature people will raise up children with very low self-esteem. So his friend shells out the $20 right away. Okay, And then my friend's son, though, he's a strong-willed person, and he knows who he is, and he knows when someone's trying to take advantage of him. So he refused. He's like, no, I'm not paying you. And she then has her, I don't know, bouncers or whoever coming from the restaurant come out, and they're like, we're gonna call the police on you. So they're manipulating. They're trying to get him to pay $20 a piece for him and his girlfriend, $40 for 2 shots. Give me a break. And he stands his ground. He's like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to pay you. But, in the end, he did give them $5 for the shot. He's like, okay, it's worth like $5 to me. Even though you are the one who was pressuring me to take it, it was still my choice that I did take it, So he was right. He stood his ground. He took responsibility for what he did drink, and no more than that. He did not allow this woman to bully him into paying $20 for really a $2 drink. It's probably really cheap liquor. So, you guys, when a narcissist prepares you for the world, they're not preparing you for the world. They're damaging you so that you cannot stand up for yourself in the real world. They're taking your self-esteem from you. They're taking your confidence and your ability to believe in your own ideas or your own perspective. You just don't trust yourself when you go out there and you allow people to bully you, other adults, and even though you're an adult, you don't feel as strong or empowered as another adult who might even be younger than you and can bully you. It doesn't necessarily take an older person or more wise person to manipulate someone who doesn't have the self-esteem to stand up for themselves. So you guys, I do want to see some of the comments here. I'm like, hey, Annette, good to see you. You're saying, hi, Angie. I'm not sure if you're talking to me, but I'm not Angie. Maybe somebody else had come on and is Angie, but good to see you here. Yeah, Obi-Wan says, my abuse only gave me a hilarious personality that makes real people laugh. Okay, this is true, By the way, a lot of comedians come from a very rough and tough background, whether they were bullied outside of the home or they were bullied inside of the home. They use their sarcasm or their funny way of seeing things to handle their grief and their pain. and it is hilarious. I think it's very rare that we come across comedians who had a very secure and healthy childhood, but some actually do, which is awesome. I'm so glad for the ones who have had a good childhood. But that's that's a coping mechanism which can serve you really well. That's something that you build up in yourself to respond to the abuse you got, Obi, that then serves you well as far as how you then socialize with other people or draw other people into your personality. And by the way, your personality without the abuse probably would have still drawn people in. That's a part of you, regardless of what the narcissist did to you as they tried to form you in your youth. They Who you are at your core, your personality without the abuse would have drawn people in. You probably would have still had the great humor, might have been slightly different. So you guys, Amanda, good to see you coming on here. Yeah, so I was watching this it was a TV show where the mom, and you probably can guess what it was, oh my gosh, I was just uh the mom was cheering on the ex, her son's ex. Like she was clapping for her son's ex. And not, she had this stern, very hard, cold face towards her son because he did not choose the person that she wanted him to choose to marry, right? She's totally in love with this girl. The mom is. And I'm thinking, well, why don't you go marry the girl yourself and not force your son to marry someone that you love? Like, you love this person, that's great for you. But if your son does not love them, do not force your son to marry them. I'm sorry. I know it's just so silly. But it really made me think about, oh my gosh, I have seen this in real life as well. I've seen this where parents will tell their kids which person to marry because the parent has fallen in love with that kid, right? And the parent thinks that this person, and here's the deal, the parent hasn't spent as much time with that prospective spouse, right, for their child, as their child has, as their adult child has. And the parent, yes, can see some things, and I think that it's good when a parent sees some issues and brings it up there, to their son or their daughter and say, well, these are my concerns. But you still, even in those times, have to allow the adult child to make their own decision. But not this mom. That mom kept going on and on as if like you could see her straining emotionally, just going crazy, trying to convince him that he has to choose this one. And I'm so glad that he stood up to her and said, Mom, stop doing this. She's trying to impose her emotions, her attachment, her feelings onto him to put onto the other girl. And that's what, not that this mom was a narcissist, but that's what narcissists will do. They will be so passionate, so emotional, so convincing to you that holy cow, why is this person going so deep emotionally and becoming as if, there's no other answer, no way to appease them than to agree with them. Like you're not allowed to disagree with them. You're not allowed to choose something other than what the narcissist is telling you to choose. And they will press and get so emotional. And I know they call it what, histrionics or something like that. But narcissists will do this too. They will get so emotional and push you so hard that you just feel like there's no other way for you to get out of this situation other than to agree with them. But a strong person, a person with their own convictions, their own self-esteem or good self-esteem, will be able to stand up to even their parent and say, and I really appreciated this guy saying to his mom, Mom, stop. And he wasn't mean about it. He wasn't rude. He wasn't controlling. He just told her to stop. And that's what we have to learn to do with narcissists who become so so emotionally unraveled that we think, holy cow, a lot of times we pull away when people become that unraveled because we don't know how to handle that. We're like, what do I do with this? How do I appease this person? How do I calm them down? And you just agree to whatever it is they say, in order to get them to stop being so crazy. But I think the best answer, that's, by the way, that's not the right way to handle that. The best answer is just to tell them, no, no, I'm not going to. And keep your calm, right? You don't have to get crazy emotional along with them. You just say no. And then if they still get crazy and crazier and it's escalating, you stop the conversation and you walk out. And that's how you handle a narcissistic person or a toxic person who's trying to impose on you their will, their emotions, their perspective. And they won't allow you to see for yourself. You know, um, as we mature and as we learn as independent adults from our friends, from our parents, we learn that other people have their own opinions too. Our opinions count, yes, but their opinions count too. If we want to warn somebody, we can warn them and we can let them know what our concerns are. But it is not our responsibility to force their hands and feet to move the way that we want them to move, right? They are not our puppet. Narcissists see people as their puppet. They see other people as manipulable. They don't see the boundary of where their will, the narcissist's will, should stop and allow the other adult to choose their own will. So I want to also talk about a couple other things that narcissists think about, or from their perspective, what love means to them. So let me go in here and see. Yeah, Obi-Wan says, I already know. People used to like me before my narc. Yeah, so you know that your personality did draw people in. And you said, in fact, I had more friends. Yeah, yeah, because once you get into a relationship with an narc, your personality changes. You doubt yourself. You become weaker. They take so much from you that then you don't, you're not as appealing to other people as you used to be. But the good news is you can be. You can get back to that. You can get back to your self esteem, your self confidence, your self worth when you start working on yourself and stop living as if you're afraid of the narcissist, or not necessarily afraid, but even affected by the narcissist anymore. Once you're able to cut that tie completely, holy cow, you're going to be so good. You're going to be so happy. You're going to be so much stronger as a person, and even more so than you were before you met the narcissist. That's the amazing thing, because now you're even in more control of your own situation, because when you meet people who behave like that narcissist, who start to manipulate in the ways that you've seen, you're going to be aware because you've seen it before. You're like, holy cow, all right, I know what to do with this now. I know when to walk away. I know what to believe, and I know what not to believe. It's so awesome. So yeah, Obi, same thing here. Obi says, my parents clap for everyone but me. Exactly. And that's how narcissistic parents are. It seems like they're praising everybody else's kids, and then their own kid they put down in front of their kid, right? But they never praise their kid in front of other people. Like they won't go, their kid will never hear how wonderful they are, um, as their narcissistic parent talks to other people. But they will hear all the time how wonderful other people's children are, and how much their parent wishes they were like these other kids. And it's so demoralizing. It's so damaging to a child to hear that constantly. That's no way to raise a child. Yeah. Jihad, good to see you. Maria, good to see you. Says, I don't waste words with toxic people. if they act out in order to manipulate or to get a reaction out of me, I walk away from this person. Yes, yes, absolutely. And that's what we learn. The hard thing is when we're in that point in a relationship with a narcissist where we are not sure that they're a narcissist. We didn't know that they were a narcissist. Maybe we didn't even know about narcissistic personality disorder, right? And we didn't even understand what toxic people are like. We didn't identify people as toxic and non-toxic. When I started going to this church a while back, my pastor used to call them life givers and life suckers, which I think is awesome. He would talk about people who just suck the life out of you and people who would give you life, breathe life into you. And he said, we have a choice to be with the life suckers or to be with the life givers. And yes, we're supposed to love the life suckers and, try to help them if we can, but we should not feel obligated that we have to stay with the life sucker and sacrifice ourselves, right? Martyr ourselves for the life sucker. If the life sucker is not willing to change, we're not responsible and obligated to stay and take their abuse. So I did appreciate that. I thought that was a really good advice from him. So let me see here. Amanda says, so true. Life is good when you give it time and learn the lessons. This week, my ex saw me after not seeing him since we broke up, and he ran to catch up with me, and I didn't feel anything. Wow, that's good. That is really good, Amanda, because that's where a lot of people strive to get to the point where, we don't have those feelings anymore. They cannot control us anymore. We don't have that bond to them anymore. So that is so good. Amanda says, I did laugh that he had to run until he was out of breath, though. His power over me is gone, and I'm a way different person. It's more than possible to get there, and I never thought it could happen. Yay! Thank you, Amanda, for sharing that. I hope that gives other viewers hope because, I'm trying to give people hope, to let them know that, I made it out. If I can make it out, if I can get to the point where I have confidence in myself and I can pull myself up, and not to say that I'm an island, but I can make wiser choices now, right? I can make better choices for my life, and I stay away from the life suckers and I allow the life givers to be in my life, right? And actually, I seek out the life givers. Those that I see are strong in character and are confident in a way that I think is admirable. I try to glean wisdom from them. I try to spend time with them and get to know them and hear their perspective on life and the trials that they went through and how they overcame. These are people that you want to stay close to and learn from, and then become someone just like them yourself. And people will start to come to you to learn from you and how you got so strong and how you became such, a beacon for others who are struggling and who are in pain. Yeah, it's awesome. Obi says, oh, my parents support drug addicts and don't believe me these people are on drugs. And when they find out, they give me no credit for spotting it. They say they knew all along. Oh, Obi, you and I have a lot in common. Yes. Narcissistic parents are exactly like that. And, they don't give their own kid any credit. And for some reason, oh my gosh, let me go back to that show. The mom who was crying for her son to choose this girl that she thought was best for him. She, hold on, you guys. Yeah, she wouldn't give him any credit for knowing what's best for him. And he, and if you watch this, you knew, and he was right. He's like, I can never love her the way that she loves me. And that doesn't do her any good. But the mom's like, I don't care. You should love her anyway because she loves you so much. And here's the deal. Love changes, by the way. if the other partner, and it takes two to give into the relationship to make it a happy relationship. It can last for a long time, and you can be married to a toxic person or to a person who doesn't love you for the rest of your life. That's not impossible. But would you be happy? Would this be a happy union? Would it be a happy marriage? Would it continue to get stronger? No, it won't get stronger. It will continue to deteriorate and to get weaker until the end, and death do you part. You leave them or they leave you, right? But in the end, it's just miserable. So why would you want that? So a parent who is toxic or who is controlling will not give their own child credit for being an adult, for knowing what they want, for having their own will. And then when that child does something right, they don't give that child credit. It's not a child anymore, it's an adult, right? You could be a 29-year-old and a 30-year-old, and they still would not give you credit for the good that you have done and the good choices you've made in your life. They still will criticize all the things that you've done wrong and demoralize you, still under the guise of telling you that this is for your own good. They're still preparing you for life. You're 30 years old and they're still abusing you and putting you down and telling you all the things you're always doing wrong, right? And they'll still say they're preparing you for life. You're like, I'm 30 years old. I should be prepared for life by now. I've already had experiences, right? I already have had challenges and decisions I've had to make as an adult. So stop preparing me, if you will. Oh my gosh, yeah. So one of the things that I do want to talk about with narcissists, though, is the romantic side, because a lot of people have a hard time letting go of a romantic partner who's narcissistic, and they'll stay in the abuse because their self-esteem is gone, for one, and the narcissist has figured out how to control them. So love to a narcissist means control, means that they can control you. To them, they will use tears, they will use anger, they will use force to try to control you. Nothing is off the table for them. They are going to, yeah, they are going to do whatever it takes to manipulate you to do what they want you to do. And sometimes it's to your detriment. Like they think that you're getting more attention than they are. So they will manipulate you to ruin that, right? To ruin your own reputation under the guise of they're trying to help you. And this is so sad because partners doing this to each other, right? Doing it to their own partner. Why, you would think, when you're a partner with someone, you're on the same team. You should be building each other up. You should be building a life together. So why would one person be tearing down the other person and thinking that they're getting ahead by doing that? It's like shooting out your own tire, right? Like, I'm going to shoot out my front tire because that front tire is too strong and too good and too dependable, and it's ridiculous. And once they do that, what does the car do? The car then can't run as well, obviously, right? It can't do its job. But a narcissist will do this in their own relationship. And that's why I think a lot of people who are romantically tied to a narcissist cannot comprehend. It doesn't make sense. Like, well, my husband or my wife, they must love me. I mean, why don't they know that if they hurt me, they hurt us, they hurt our whole relationship? If they try to destroy, get me fired from my job, right? If they're trying to make me late getting to my job every day and they're going to get me fired, that's going to hurt our finances, right? But the narcissist doesn't care. They will self-destruct in order to try to control the other person. Another thing that, love means to a narcissist is that you must obey and follow their ever-changing rules. So to them, Love is what you do to obey them. Like if you are willing to do what they tell you, then to them you love them. To them, that's what love is. Now, would they switch that around to where they would do whatever you want them to do and they would obey you? No, of course not. So it's a one-way street with them. It's whatever they can do to make you obey them. They have to have control over you. Another thing is you have to follow their rules. Even when they change up their rules and they don't even remember what their rules are, you're supposed to remember what their rules are. And if they change the rules, you have to jump and turn and follow that new rule immediately, right? And not question why they changed it. Um, Another thing is they're constantly thinking about what do you do for them. Like if you stop providing for them the things that make them feel good, and by the way, it's not like you can stay consistent ever with them anyway. You could still be doing the exact same things you did at the beginning of the relationship, but they'll get bored, or they'll have other people who stroke their ego, or they'll have other people who look, maybe they've met somebody who looks better, or maybe somebody that adores them more than you do, or, is pouring way more attention on them than you do now. Um, you're not going to be able to compete with that. And they're going to see that as you not loving them as much as they deserve. So, you guys, that's another trap, another manipulation of the narcissist to try to conform you, to make you um, be in this definition of love with them, which essentially is them controlling everything that you do. You have to live your life the way they want you to live your life. You have to live your life also being accessible to them and providing them everything that they need. It's horrible. And the worst thing, though, of all of that, you guys, is that they disguise their love as concern for you. And they tell you that they only care for your best interest. And they and that's where we fall off. That's where we feel like, but nobody else tells you. Nobody else has told you, I'm doing this for your own good. I'm doing this because I have your best interest in mind. But the narcissist will tell you that because it's a total lie. It's a total lie for them. So they can say it really easily, and you're thinking, well, why would someone say that if they didn't mean it, right? But it's a very easy manipulation for them. Well, you guys, that is what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I hope that you got something out of that, and let me see what some of your ideas are here and what some of your comments are. Obi says, I'm almost an old man now and took me this long to figure out what was wrong with me. Yeah. That's the hard thing about having been raised by a narcissist or having had narcissists in our life in a very predominant position in our life or dominant position in our life, like a partner or a boss, someone who does have control over your well-being. It can destroy us for a long time until we learn to step away from that and start to grow on our own. And it doesn't matter where you start, Obi. I hope you see this. You say you're almost an old man, but I look at people who I've known somebody who ever since she was, I want to say probably 45, was saying to me, oh, I'm so old. I'm 45. I can't, do this. I can't do that. My body, blah, blah, blah. And she got so out of shape. Like her body is so weak and I feel so bad for her. And now she's in her 60s. And I'm just like, ever since I was a kid, you've been telling me how old you are and how, decrepit your body was. And she won't even take a walk around the block. I'm like, what? Why are you not going to walk around the block? And it's not like her knees can't handle it or she's got arthritis or anything like that. She just doesn't want to. She just doesn't want to. She sees herself as an old person. And I wish for her that she wouldn't see herself as an old person. She saw herself as an old person ever since she was 45. And I know to some people that is an old person. To a 20-year-old or 15-year-old, they're like, yeah, that is an old person. But honestly, I've seen people in their 60s who are out salsa dancing, swing dancing, they're riding bicycles. I have some friends who are in their 60s and they ride across states on their bikes. Yeah, over a multi day adventure. For someone to say, oh, I'm an old person, don't fall into that trap. Yeah, our age is old. You could be 45, you could be 35 and feeling old. Some people who are 30 feel old. It's just insane to me because just you still have that decision to make. You still have the choice. Just get up and start moving. Get up and start living your life. And it doesn't matter what age you start doing that at. Just start doing it. So Obi, I think that you're going to have so many years ahead of you that you're going to be healthy, you're going to be strong, and there's so much goodness still ahead for you. Yeah. Jason, good to see you. Says rules only apply to you, never to them. Yes, absolutely. And that's another thing. They're like, if you love me, you would do this. And if you turn it back to them and you say, no, wait, if you love me, you wouldn't ask me to do that. They wouldn't accept that. Like they won't accept that. So know that you have the power, you have the control to control your part of the relationship. You don't have to be manipulated. You don't have to feel like you're bulldozed. You don't have to feel like you have no choice but to do whatever they're asking in order to appease them or to calm them down. You actually have a choice. You can say no. And when they try to manipulate you with their words of, obligation, like you don't love me because you don't do this. It's like, well, how about you? Does that mean you don't love me because you're asking me to do this? Yeah, even though they don't follow their own rules, I would say keep bringing up those rules and give them the reverse because it's true both ways, right? If you're required to follow their rules, then they're required to follow their rules as well. Um, yeah. Toby says you have to guess the rules at times and not question their anger for your wrong guess. This is so true. Oh my gosh. Uh, yeah, that's cool, Obi. I'm glad to hear that. Says, I'm old but get mistaken for my 20s. I love it. Yes, young chicks love me, and ones my age think they have a young man. I really do love life. Ah, that's awesome. Awesome. You see that? I love that. So I understand what you mean. You're just saying that it took you a long time to get to this point in age, that is, right? And I'm so glad that you got your life together, you got your health together, you're getting physically fit. This is what I want to encourage everybody to do. Just start moving. I got to a point where I felt like, you know what? Why am I not doing even the small things when I want to get my body fit, right? And so I started doing stretches, while I'm watching a show at night or watching a movie on TV or something. And even in a movie theater, I'll do small, minor stretches while I'm sitting in a seat. Now, outside of that, then I exercise. I do other things. I like to bike and kayak and stuff like that, and swim. I love swimming. But there were times when I couldn't get outside to do all the higher physical things I wanted to do. So I was like, well, what's stopping me from doing it here? Like even in the office, if there's a place or a space where you can do a few lunges and it takes all of maybe 30 seconds. That's the crazy thing, to do 20 lunges. Do it. Just take 20 seconds, half a minute to do 20 lunges. And it's amazing how much stronger you become by just doing 30 seconds of that. And by the way, there are videos I started up, I had made a while ago where I talk about sorry, I'm going to close this, where I talk about just doing a 2-minute workout every day. I mean, just start with that, 2 minutes. And I actually rarely do more than 2 minutes if I'm at home. I don't really do a lot. But if I can get outside, I can do longer. But a lot of times I'm just stuck and I'm so busy that I have to just squeeze in a 2-minute workout. And that's what I do. There's nothing stopping any of us from getting started. Do a few, just do some stretches, but do some push-ups. And even if they're half push-ups, like from the knees, or even push-ups where you're leaning against a counter, right? And pushing off of a wall or a counter, do that. And you'd be surprised. Just 30 seconds of that, 30 seconds of that, 30 seconds of lunges. That's 1 minute, right? That's 1 minute of working out that you did. And even if you did that every day, like if you cannot find 1 minute to do those things, then there's something seriously wrong in your life. But get fit, get feeling stronger, and you won't feel so defeated, especially as we're getting older, as, years go by and you're thinking, oh, I've wasted all this time and I've spent all this, these years with the narcissist that's been depleting me and destroying me. And you forget that you have so many more years ahead of you. So stop looking back and start looking forward. Well, you guys, that has been my lesson today. And I think that, let me see here. I'm going to read a couple more comments. Obi says, once I uncovered how my narc did what she did, it released a huge weight. Then I just wanted to be finished. I open old stuff about this and see what she did at times and just laugh how much I don't understand how much work you used. How much work it used to be. I don't know how much work it took. I could have had her thrown in jail, but told the judge I want no contact. That's good, Obi. That's good. Take the high road. Be the better person. You'll feel good about yourself. So proud of you. Well, you guys, we are coming up. Oh, how much work she used. Oh, okay. Yeah. So you guys, that's my goal as well. When you look back, if you do look back, and I know we all do, when you look back at your old relationship, I hope that you do laugh. I hope that you realize how insanely ridiculous it was. I hope that you forgive yourself. I hope you don't carry shame and continue to blame yourself or condemn yourself for having fallen for stuff. Forgive yourself. And I hope that you look back and go, wow, that was another life. And you're no longer emotionally tied to it. It's like watching a movie of somebody else, playing your role. And you're just like, wow, that was some total crazy town, which I am so relieved to be out of. So when you look back, don't feel like you have to relive any of that. Just know that you have gotten out. You're stronger now, and you have this whole future ahead of you. It is unwritten. Your future is unwritten. It's whatever you decide at this point you want to do. It may not be like, wow, a 180-degree turn from your life. But when you start a tiny change in your life, over time, it'll become something tremendous. Well, you guys, our hour is coming up, and I've got a contractor coming over actually to look at repairing a few things at our house. So I'm going to let you tie up a couple of conversations and give you a few last minutes if you have any questions for me. In the meantime, let me just take a look. I'm just trying to think about, the times I've seen narcissists controlling people. Now, there is a difference between a narcissist when someone says they're doing this because they love you, like a parent that allows a child to get the F because the child did not do any of the homework or didn't study and got an F. And so the parent's not going to go to talk to the teacher and try to convince the teacher to give them a better grade. That's because the parent loves them and wants to prepare them for the future, wants to prepare them for the real world. And the real world is what you put in, you're going to get out. Not all the time, but most of the time, right? There are consequences to what you do. That's a parent teaching a child. But a parent who's abusing a child with words that just tears them down, calling them names, always criticizing them, that's not preparing the child for the real world. Preparing a person for the real world is allowing a person to reap the consequences of their own actions, right? Yes, we can help people, bail them out from time to time, but if you are enabling the person, that's not preparing them for the real world. So there's the difference between a narcissist saying they're preparing somebody for the real world versus someone who is loving towards that person and wants to prepare them for the real world. They'll equip them, you know, help them learn structure and time management and help them see that, if you work towards this, I will help you get to that point. You want to help someone along who's already putting in effort. So there's the difference. Well, you guys, so glad that you came on here. Amanda says romantic relationships should never feel like a parent child relationship. Yes, you're right about that. Absolutely right. And I didn't talk about that either. Um, because I've been switching between, the parental relationship and then the romantic relationship as two separate things. But narcissists will make their partner feel like they're the child and the narcissist is the parent. And that's crap. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Maria says, is it just me, or do a lot of narcs come across as aggressively bubbly when they are trying to weasel their way into your life? It is not just you. It is not just you. Some narcs are like that, and they are over the top, right? That kind of that's kind of a red flag for me as well. I mean, some people naturally are bubbly, I guess. I mean, I don't know everybody out there, but I do enjoy a happy person. But when someone is just overly bubbly, and what I mean by that is they're not even aware of how other people are reacting around them. Like they're not aware that they're so loud that everybody's annoyed, there are times that I get loud when I'm laughing with my friends, and it's not to make a show of something. It's just because we laugh very loudly together. We're just loud laughers. Um, but generally, we do stop and we're like, "Whoa, that was too loud!" Like we're disturbing people. Narcissists will just continue on with a charade as if, and they're hoping everybody will join in with them. And there's going to be a lot of nervous laughter as people try to make the narcissist not feel uncomfortable, right? So that is weird. You're right. They do that. And they do try to win you over. And that's why it's so important to pay attention to the long-term relationship. How is this narcissist? Are they a narcissist? Are they always this bubbly? Are they always putting on a show? Are they being real with you? Are there times when they're not laughing their heads off? It's like, can you be a real person? And sometimes it's not narcissism that causes them to do that. It's insecurity. And people who are very insecure might do that a lot because they feel like people will like them better if they are bubbly and happy. And they're insecure because they think that if they're themselves, if they show a real side to them, people won't like them. So give them a little grace for that as well. Try to get to know the person, and sometimes it takes comfort, or for them to feel safe with you, to let down their guard, to let down that weird bubbly personality and be real with you. So the difference is, are they gossiping? Are they abusive in their words? Are they tearing other people down? Like those are red flags to stay away from somebody, regardless of whether they're bubbly or not. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining. I'm so glad that you were able to make it. We're here at the end of our hour. Yeah, let me see. Maria says, I had one of those types trying to love bomb me, but she became extremely vindictive when I paid no attention to her. Yes. Oh my gosh, you got to be so careful with that because, that's the thing I think about when somebody who can turn around and just be really mean. I think that's their real self. And at first you think, oh, but they have a right to be mean because, we're ending the relationship. I realize this is not the person for me. So you end the relationship. I think a healthy person would be like, okay, I guess I'm not going to try to make you love me. I can't convince you to love me. It hurts like heck. And I'm going to need time to heal. But I don't need to turn this around and call you every name under the book and yell at you and tell you what a horrible person you are for rejecting me. Right? That's a person who has problems and is probably toxic and needs to grow up, is immature, maybe even narcissistic. So that type of reaction from someone makes you realize you just dodged a bullet. You totally dodged a bullet. You knew there was something wrong in the relationship. You knew that, something was telling you not to continue this relationship. And so you end it. And you end it as amicably as you possibly can. You try so hard to be gentle in ending it. And they turn around and they want to like bite your head off. That's when you know you just dodged a bullet, because that would have come out in them pretty much continually throughout the rest of your relationship with them. Had you gotten married, forget it. They would have come at you like that on a regular basis. So when people turn from love bombing to suddenly biting your head off because you did something they didn't like, or you didn't give them the attention they needed or wanted you to give them, holy cow, run. Yeah. Yeah. Obi-Wan, I remember that. uh, well, you guys, our hour is up, and I know sometimes I'll go to an hour and a half, but today I really have to get going. I've got somebody coming over soon. Many blessings to you. I hope that you guys take some of the lessons you got today, get inspired to start moving. Don't believe that you're old. Yeah, maybe your age is, by the world standard, old. But people are getting healthy for much longer in their life. There are people in their 60s and 80s, 70s, right, who are weightlifting. Oh my gosh, they are such an inspiration to me. That's how I want to be. I want to be it when I'm in my 80s, man. I want to still be running, lifting weights. I want to be strong. Um, who knows? And why lie down, right? Why lie down and let life take you over? Why give up? Why act as if your life is over? And that's, I feel sad for the people that I know who tell me they're old and their body's old and therefore they can't even go for a walk. I'm like, it's just walking. We're not running. We're not, you know, we're not jogging. We're not even speed walking. We're just walking slowly, but they don't even want to do that. And I feel like they've given up. They don't say they've given up, but they've given up on their own body, which is sad. Very, very sad. So blessings to you guys. Don't get like that. Get moving, get stronger, get healthy minded, get healthy bodied. And I will talk to you next week. Many, many blessings to you.